All right, let's get you some business news now. I'm joined again by Catherine Bennett. Catherine, we're 10 weeks to go until this Brexit transition period actually ends. The UK appeared to say today talks are over. What more can you tell us?
Well, the question is whether the UK is going to be willing to step away from its largest export market. The UK's economy has, of course, already been pummeled by the coronavirus pandemic, and walking away with no deal like this will only prolong the country's recovery. A no deal on December 31st would mean new tariffs on goods swapped with what used to be the UK's closest trading partner, at a huge cost to the UK economy. In 2019, 43% of UK exports went to the EU, and 51% of UK imports came from the EU. One study says that the combination of COVID-19 and a failure to get a trade deal will result in £134 billion in GDP, that's 148 billion euros, lost every year for a decade. Here's what Boris Johnson said earlier.
Given that they have refused to negotiate seriously for much of the last few months, and given that this summit appears explicitly to rule out a Canada-style deal, I've concluded that we should get ready for January the 1st with arrangements that are more like Australia's, based on simple principles of global free trade.
Well, he said there that they're going to go to an Australia-style deal. Now, what does that mean exactly? Australia has no comprehensive trade deal with the EU, so it essentially means reverting to World Trade Organization rules. And that means applying tariffs to goods that previously had none at all. So some basic products are going to get a lot more expensive for UK consumers. Excuse me, I have a problem with the graphic there. Going back to the Australia-style deal, the key difference, of course, between Australia and the UK is that the UK is on the EU's doorstep. And so sectors like medicines, cars and food, which rely on just-in-time supply chains, will be hit with delays if there is no deal. Now we can move to the US's federal budget, which you saw just then in a graphic there. So the US's federal budget has hit an all-time high of $3.1 trillion in the 2020 fiscal year. Now that's more than double the previous record of $1.4 trillion set during the Obama administration in 2009. It's also 3 times the size of last year's deficit of $984 billion. Government spending has surged by 47.3% this year, funneled into relief programs, of course, to protect jobs and the economy during the pandemic. The gap in the budget has been steadily rising. You can see that there in the graphic under Donald Trump's leadership after his government passed a huge tax cut in late 2017. World markets are broadly higher this evening. Stocks on Wall Street moving further into positive territory after strong retail sales data. Consumers have been spending more than expected in September. Retail sales leapt 1.9%. Now that gave a boost to the markets, with the Dow Jones moving up almost 1%. The S&P 500 up just over 0.5%, and the Nasdaq rising 0.33%. In the EU, European markets closed higher earlier today, unperturbed by the latest developments in Brexit. The FTSE and the DAX up 1.5%, and the CAC 40 up 2%. South Africa's president has unveiled an ambitious new recovery plan as the country's economy continues to struggle from the fallout of one of the world's strictest lockdowns. Kemi Nedlek has the details.
All of us as South Africans.
A bigger, better economy. That was the vision set out by South African President Cyril Ramaphosa as he announced billions of euros worth of economic stimulus, designed not just to help the country recover from one of the world's strictest lockdowns, but to tackle the recession it had been struggling with even before the virus hit.
We are determined to create more employment opportunities for those who were unemployed before the pandemic or who had given up looking for work. This means unleashing the potential of our economy.
A key measure is the extension of relief grants to the country's 6 million unemployed. Another pillar is the over 5 billion euros to build schools, sanitation and housing, as well as larger projects like ports, roads and railways, which the government says will create some 800,000 jobs. It comes as the lockdown pushed the unemployment rate to a record high of 42%, and the economy is expected to contract by 8% this year.
This corona have bring everything down. Even if you can see outside, everywhere is empty because of the corona issues. No business, nothing is going. We come out Sundays, we can't even meet our daily meat.
This new aid is on top of a previous stimulus package of over 20 billion euros announced in March.
Europe's aviation regulator has declared the Boeing 737 MAX safe to take to the skies again. The plane was grounded in March 2019 after two accidents that killed 346 people. The announcement comes even as Boeing has yet to install an extra sensor that the agency had previously asked for. The 737 MAX was Boeing's best-selling plane. Since the crashes, over 1,000 orders of the plane have been cancelled, and Boeing sold no planes at all in September this year. The French Economy Minister Bruno Le Maire has promised extra help for sectors that will be affected by the nighttime curfew, which is beginning just after midnight tonight in 9 city regions across France. Le Maire visited restaurant owners in Paris today to reassure them that they would be eligible for financial aid. He said that if revenues were down more than 50%, companies wouldn't have to pay social charges. He also wants to extend payment deadlines for state loans. At the moment, businesses have to start paying back a loan 1 year after securing it. The government wants to push this to 2 years afterwards. But to do that, they first have to get the green light from Brussels.
Je vais entrer en négociation avec la Commission européenne pour lui dire est-ce qu'on pourrait décaler le début de remboursement du prêt de 2021 à 2022, ce qui laisserait aux entreprises 2 années complètes avant d'engager le remboursement de leurs prêts. Donc ça leur donne un bol d'air important. C'est une négociation que je dois conduire avec la Commission européenne, parce que comme ces prêts sont garantis par l'État, ils sont considérés comme des aides d'État.
People have monthly subscriptions to all sorts of things, Netflix to the gym, a newspaper. But how about a monthly subscription with a hotel chain? Now that's the new model that some hotel groups are trying out. Intercontinental Hotels, Marriott and Accor are launching a hotel service on demand aimed at people now working from home, with prices ranging from $1,100 a month to nearly $2,000 a month. Other brands are testing out an all-you-can-travel model, where you can stay in any of their global sites for as many nights as you want, free of taxes and extra fees. And that wraps up the business from me.
All right, thank you for that roundup, Catherine Bennett. Look, just before we go,